Normally, when the economy goes into a recession, business profits suffer. And that makes sense. People stop buying stuff, business revenues decline, but businesses can't cut costs as fast as their revenue, so profits shrink. But that normal pattern was turned upside down during the COVID pandemic. Look what happened to business profits as Australia entered its first recession in 30 years. Profits were chugging along just fine. Then COVID hit. Hundreds of thousands of jobs disappeared. Whole industries were shut down. Australians feared for their lives. But corporate profits took off. It's a global pandemic, a public health crisis. The economy's shutting down. Australians fear for their lives. And profits have never been better. Then COVID slowed down for a while and the economy started to reopen. But in 2021, we faced new outbreaks, more lockdowns, and a double-dip recession. What happened to profits? They went even higher. Quite literally, the worse things got, the higher profits rose. And so did CEO compensation, up 24% last year. So did the share market, all-time record highs. So did billionaires' wealth. Almost never before have profits grown during a recession. So why did that happen this time? A couple of reasons. First, the government's COVID rescue package was highly skewed toward business. $89 billion in JobKeeper payments to businesses with very weak conditions attached, and tens of billions of dollars of other business support programs. Yes, individuals got support payments as well, but the government cut them off quickly, too quickly. Secondly, the other reason profits rose under COVID is because it's easier than ever for employers to get rid of their workers when tough times occur. So many Australians now have very insecure jobs. Employers can fire them with no notice and no severance. In fact, about half of Australians have insecure work. Part-time, casual jobs, labor hire, contractors, gig jobs. Those people lost work immediately as COVID hit, so business profits were protected. So whether times are good or times are bad, businesses are grabbing a bigger share of the economic pie. This shows that the profit share of total GDP has been growing for decades, and it hit an all-time record high in the pandemic, when over 30% of GDP went to profits. That's twice as much as in the 1970s. Meanwhile, workers' share of the GDP has been shrinking, and that's not a coincidence. It's just two sides of the same coin. Workers' share has fallen by over 10 percentage points since the 1970s, and in 2021 it hit a new record low, just 46% of GDP going to labor compensation. That represents the redistribution of $210 billion of income per year from workers to corporations. That's equivalent to almost $20,000 lost income per employee per year. That's how much workers have given up as corporate profits continue to set record highs. And worse yet, the same pattern is continuing as we come out of the pandemic. Average hourly wages grew just 2.5% in a year and a half, not even enough to keep up with inflation. Meanwhile, business profits grew 21.5% in the same time, 8 times faster. Yes, employers are hiring again, but mostly in the same insecure jobs that disappeared during the pandemic. In fact, casual employment has grown faster since the first lockdowns than any period in Australian history. That means more insecurity and more business profits as we come out of the pandemic. There's something terribly wrong when the world has a catastrophe, but corporate profits and share markets have the best times ever, and wages still go nowhere. So as we come out of this pandemic, hopefully soon, we have to find a way to build a better, fairer balance in our economy. And we know how to do it. Number 1, more secure jobs. Number 2, higher wages, like a higher minimum wage, stronger awards, and more collective bargaining. And number 3, fair taxes. The company and wealthy individuals who did so well during this pandemic have to pay more towards our national reconstruction. We need these policies to share the pain in the bad times and share the gains in the good times. Otherwise, this pandemic will leave us with an economy that's even more unfair than it was when COVID hit.